Well, David and Angela, if I was to catch a flight right now, it would cost me about $900 to $1,600, and that price keeps on rising each hour. Starting at 6 o'clock this morning, skiers and snowboarders lined up here at Big Sky Resort to be some of the first skiers to be on this ski lift for opening day. It was here on the Uso Falls Trail in Big Sky when Jill and Jason found themselves battling life and death after Jason fell off his bike, went into cardiac arrest, and his heart stopped beating. Are you guys all having a fun time? Yeah! Did you guys get enough candy though? No! There is never enough candy. Well, we have to go fill some candy bags right now, so I'm gonna send it back to you guys at the desk. There's actually some oil still on the ground if you look down this way, and it's pretty fresh. I mean, you can still see it on my fingers right here. So investigators have been here all day trying to figure out what exactly caused this to happen here. Well, David, we're seeing the cheapest gas prices that we've seen in 12 years here in the U.S. for this holiday weekend. Now, I'm filling up my car, and so far it's costing about $2.32 per gallon. Montanan beekeepers and bee enthusiasts are gearing up to help save these bees from a sticky situation. Here at Bozeman's Yellowstone International Airport, where I learned the rights you do and do not have once you jump on a plane. Well, Angela, it's looking fine right now. I'm here in front of I-90, and so far the road conditions aren't bad, but the big story tonight are the high winds and warmer weather. If the Black Olive Project is voted through later today at the City Commissioners meeting, that means on this corner of Black and Olive, there'll be a 5-story apartment complex building. I'm at a truck stop here in Livingston off I-90, where you can see the snow is being picked up by the wind and carried around, causing low visibility on the road. Esmond tells me he's expecting there to be a nominee sometime later tonight, so I'll be here all night to give you guys the latest information on air and on the web. In Helena, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Being reported at an all-time high in Gallatin County. In one case, a dog owner says her dog even died.
Yeah, so sad. Our Cassie Schirm, she finds out that there's a new strain of kennel cough, and she explains what it means for pet owners.
This type of kennel cough is being called very contagious. In fact, vets are still trying to identify what type of strand this is because it's spreading so quickly.
Some of the patients have gotten very sick.
Vet Lonnie Onenbeck has never seen kennel cough this bad. So bad, cases are up drastically.
This year we've seen, we're not entirely sure what the organism is, but a ton of cases. We've seen at least 75 cases just in our clinic. So whatever it is highly contagious. We have not been able to isolate the exact organism yet.
Even if your dog is vaccinated, that may not be enough.
A lot of the patients that have picked it up have the kennel cough vaccine, which is Bordetella, but there's a lot of organisms that can cause kennel cough. Kennel cough's just kind of a generic term for upper respiratory infections.
Unfortunately, Paula Diaz knows this all too well.
If I would have known that there was a kennel cough outbreak, and combined with the fact that the vaccine isn't very effective against it, it almost isn't at all, then maybe I would have made different decisions.
She says her dog Lucy had kennel cough symptoms. 24 hours after going to the vet, Lucy passed away.
She went to sleep and started gasping for air and just couldn't make it through, so it was devastating, you know, because we thought she was doing better, so we really didn't expect that to happen.
This is why vets like Onenbeck are advising clients to check for signs.
So the big thing we want to warn people about is just if their pets are showing any signs of not eating well and they're coughing, or their energy is low, or basically anything changes other than a subtle cough, to get checked out right away, because some of the patients have gotten very sick.
So how should you keep your pets safe? Vets say the best thing you can do is to limit their contact with other dogs, and that means avoiding dog parks like this one back behind me here, as well as trails. In Bozeman, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Now today, ABC Fox Montana was asked to provide the community of Belgrade and Three Forks with a live stream of the memorial of Deputy Moore. We are proud to provide this service at the request of family representatives and the law enforcement community to our community of online and on-air viewers. Now for a closer look, our Cassie Schirm was also on the ground for the emotional memorial.
Hundreds of people from all over have come here to Three Forks High School to celebrate and honor the life of Deputy Mason Moore. Now, if you look at this table back behind me here, there was a sign-in for all visitors before they paid their respects to him as well as his family. Now, on these books, we've seen people sign from all over, from California and all the way to Texas. Now, one thing everyone tells me when speaking about Mr. Moore is that he was a very generous and loving man.
My heart's broken. I'm a man without spirit right now. It is definitely broken.
Totally dedicated to serving the public any way he could.
A friend, a son, a father of 3, a husband, Broadwater County Sheriff's Deputy Mason Moore carried many different titles, a show of the loving and wonderful man he was.
Mace is a man of integrity. He's a man of faith, and he is a man of love.
In one heart he opened wide, that of his wife, Jody. Teary-eyed, she spoke of the couple's unconditional love and how he treasured his 3 kids.
Copy 43, you are now off shift. En route to that place your Heavenly Father has prepared for you.
After the funeral, over 80 agencies from all over came to join in the procession from Belgrade to Three Forks. Chief Steve Crawford says while driving in the procession, he saw a lot of support from the community.
I saw people stopped at virtually every intersection and driveway and cross street and waving flags and saluting and holding their hands over their hearts and just showing their support for the profession and for the sacrifice that Deputy Moore made.
In Three Forks, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Now to a story that will lighten your heart and lift your spirits. It's about a new Belgrade resident and his recent rise to internet fame, but it's not your average citizen or really a person at all for that matter. Our Cassie Schirm takes us to Belgrade to introduce the now famous Kevin the Cone.
A Bozeman cone was found in a blizzard here in Belgrade last week, and the Belgrade Police Department rescued it, decorated it, and even named it Kevin. Now Kevin has become a part of the community here in Belgrade and even a star on Facebook.
Was just kind of the first cone sounding name that we could come up with, and I mean, he looks like a Kevin.
Officer Justin Sparks with Belgrade Police says they picked him up and named him.
We figured we'd have a little fun with Bozeman Police on our Facebook page.
From meeting local firefighters to joining officers on patrol and even acting as city manager for a day, Kevin's online chronicles are gaining national attention.
Didn't even cross my mind that we'd be looking at this many comments and shares and comments from across the country. Reach is 64,000 and some. It's pretty impressive for a small community like Belgrade.
The Bozeman Police Department is even playing along.
We're concerned about Kevin, who goes by Casey by his family, and we want to get him back in Bozeman. You always have to have a little bit of humor in the world of policing, and if an orange cone lightens the mood a little bit, it doesn't mean we're not out there doing the job that needs to be done.
In order to return to home in Bozeman, Kevin the Cone is asking for acts of kindness on Facebook.
With the Christmas spirit and everything, we encourage people to do nice things for other people.
If you can give a random act of kindness, we need your help today to get Casey back with his family where he belongs.
If you want to help Kevin the Cone make it back to the Bozeman Police Department, make sure you share your act of kindness on Facebook using the hashtag Kevin the Cone Kindness. Reporting here in Belgrade, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Well, Kevin the Cone, or Casey, as you can now call him, has grown so popular he even has his own Facebook page with more than 180 likes. You can follow Kevin's travels on our Facebook page or online at abcfoxmontana.com.
The legendary Harlem Globetrotters bringing their unique brand of basketball here to Montana. In fact, one Globetrotter, Buckets Blake, made an early trip to hang out with kids at Mount Ellis Elementary School in Bozeman, and he spoke with the kids about dealing with bullying and how they can prevent it while showing off of his skills at the same time. We sent our very own Cassie Schirm to learn what it takes to be a Harlem Globetrotter from one of the best.
From the easily recognizable uniform to the red, white, and blue basketball. When you see the Globetrotters, you know you're in for a good time. Buckets Blake has been on the team for 15 seasons, but he's loved basketball since he was 5 years old.
I told myself when I was 5 years old that I was going to be a professional athlete, and so I took one of my dad's hats, got my grandmother's scissors, and I cut a hole in the top of his hat, and I shot a tennis ball in there, and that was my first hoop.
His path led him straight to being a Globetrotter, and his baskets keep getting bigger and better.
It's the highest shot ever made in North America. It's 583 feet 8 inches. They always try to leave that 8 inches off, but it's very important when you're that high. It was my second shot, and it was pretty epic.
After showing off his tricks to the kids, I asked him to teach me some tricks that all Globetrotters must know.
Like this in fast motion. 1, 2, 3, 4, You know, when you sign up to be a Harlem Globetrotter to play on this team, it's not just about the game of basketball, it's about the game of life. It's a great feeling to know that you're having a positive impact on the kids.
Today, the kids at Mount Ellis Elementary enjoyed meeting the pro while talking about bullying prevention.
I've never really met a professional, but I've seen professionals before live, but it was really cool.
Blake's favorite part of the gig is mentoring. He has this advice for every kid.
I always tell kids to be the best you that you could possibly be. It's tough to try and be someone else, and when you figure out what's cool and what's unique about you, you'll reach your goals a lot faster.
If you'd like to see Buckets, Blakes, and the Harlem Globetrotters shoot nothing but net, make sure you go to our website, ABC Fox Montana, for the date, time, and locations. In Bozeman, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Soldier is reunited with his remains 67 years after his death in the Korean War.
Yes, our Cassie Schirm. She takes us to today's tearful reunion.
It's about time we got him home. Been gone for 60+ years.
A soldier is now back with loved ones and family members after being reported missing in action during the Korean War back in 1950.
Didn't know what happened to him. Now we do, and we can put him to rest.
Army Sergeant First Class Harold Hoffland of Belgrade was a member of Company D 15th Anti-Aircraft Artillery Battalion.
He got the Distinguished Service Cross Award, which is pretty rare. There's about 13,500 people in the whole history of this award. It's the second highest award that you can get in the military.
To identify Hoffland's remains, scientists from the DPAA and Armed Forces Medical Examiner System used circumstantial evidence as well as DNA analysis, which matched his two brothers.
They were certainly hoping that they could get some results on it and closure.
Now his family members are just hoping to give the fallen soldier a warm welcome home.
You know, a man like that deserves honor. We can't give him enough honor to give their life for this country in that way. So that's what this is about. We feel like the more community support we get, the more honor we give to the man.
Harold Hoffland will finally be laid to rest here at the Sunset Hills Cemetery on Saturday at 10 a.m. In Bozeman, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Well, today, more than 7,000 Americans still remain unaccounted for from the Korean War, by the way.
Well, you have any extra meat in the freezer? The birds at the Montana Raptor Conservation Center would love to take it off your hands, or out of your hands, as it were.
Yes, this is true. In fact, the center has a big need for donations after taking in 7 new birds. They all need to recover from being hit by cars or even shot.
Yeah, we sent our Cassie Schirm to the center to find out what they need and meet some of the birds who depend on your donations.
Here at the Montana Raptor Conservation Center, birds like Watson right here need your help when it comes to their next meal.
This is like what he does. This is one of our permanent residents. His name is Watson. He is an American male kestrel. So this is a guy that would eat meat and what we need to feed.
Watson and the other rehab and permanent birds eat only donated meat.
We take wild game meat donations from the community. So that's any meat that was processed for human consumption. And that would be meat from deer, elk, antelope, that type of stuff. And we use the meat to feed these guys right here. If we had to buy meat, it would be really expensive.
Jordan Spike, assistant director, has worked with these birds for 7 years.
This is a very rewarding job. You know, we take these birds who are on the verge of death, essentially, and try to rehab them back to health and release them. So there's definitely a lot of passion involved.
He says this is the lowest amount of meat they've ever had.
We just haven't received the amount of meat donations we usually receive. We also have a pretty high number of birds this year, so we're actually going through the meat a little faster. Your typical bald eagle or golden eagle eats almost up to a pound of meat a day, so we can go through meat pretty quick.
Spike tells me you'd be surprised how much meat 30 birds go through.
So we go through around bag this big of meat a day, which is kind of a lot, and that's every day, 7 days a week.
Spike says there are many ways you can help.
We are, depending on people to donate money and on meat and food and time.
If you'd like to learn more on how you can help these birds here at the Conservation Center, go to our website, abcfoxmontana.com. In Bozeman, I'm Cassie Schirm.
That sound, that means Hometown Proud continues this week in Ennis.
Oh, it's such a fun time of the year, I have to admit, because every week this month we're taking our show on the road and we're finding out what makes Montana's small towns so unique and so special.
In Ennis today, our Cassie Schirm profiles a shop that has a little bit of everything and what the owner is doing to encourage other small entrepreneurs.
Thank you, ladies, very much. Have a great day. Okay, come on.
Tammy Haas, owner of the My Home in Montana store, was recently named Retailer of the Year during a reception for the 2017 Made in Montana trade show.
As people that that come in, they want to be able to take a piece of Montana home. So knowing that it's made here, I think makes it that much more special to them.
From huckleberry treats to artwork and handmade crafts, Haas store represents more than 80 Made in Montana vendors from all over Montana, including places like Prey, Florence, Missoula, and Bozeman.
It's kind of nice knowing that we're helping other little families, so they can sell their wares as well.
Haas tells me her top selling product here in the store is huckleberry jam, along with the huckleberry products behind me here that keep the tourists coming back for more.
Because huckleberries aren't grown everywhere, a lot of people don't know what a huckleberry is. They just want to try it and take it home. But yeah, it kind of is funny to me that is the #1 seller in the store.
Huckleberry, wild chocolate covered berries for everybody.
One tourist on her way back home showed me some of her huckleberry goodies she is bringing back to her family.
I thought it'd be fun to get things that are from Montana because I would tell them about Idaho, which is where I went, and we know about Washington, which is where we live, but Montana's on the way through, and I have some pictures and a map to show them too.
Haas says the tourist's favorite part is learning where the products come from.
So people kind of want to know that story so they can take it home, and I think so when they're giving that gift, they can kind of share that story of why that product is unique.
In Ennis, I'm Cassie Schirm.
And Cassie had me at Huckleberry. All right, thanks, Megan. Many people are taking their cars into the shop after what they just heard from our Megan Barassa. Winter weather hitting Montana. Our Cassie Schirm, she's in Bozeman near the Bozeman Pass. And that's where tonight's snow expected to fall. Cassie, has it started falling yet?
Well, I'm standing outside the Bozeman Pass and it's raining right now. I've seen little bits of snow falling from the sky, but it's the drop in temperature in just the past couple hours. It's dropped from 5 to 10 degrees. Now we are expecting snow to fall more in the mountains in the pass back behind me here, and that's serving as a reminder and a sign to many Montanans that it may be time to get their cars prepped for the winter. The phone has been ringing off the hook for many tire shops across Montana.
I mean, the phone has been busy today quite a bit already, and this is just the beginning. So I expect us to be fairly busy and fairly consistent throughout the next couple of months as we get into this winter season.
Even though this is just the beginning of cooler weather, Jeremy Fessner with Big O Tires says an early start is essential in winter preparations.
And it's really important to get in right away as soon as you can and get those winter tires on. The storm that's coming through, I mean, we may not see much of it down here, but for the people that live in the outlying areas and things like that, they're gonna see it.
I spoke with Bozeman residents who are waiting at the shop who understand the importance of winterizing their cars.
It's essential.
Oh, it makes all the difference.
Yeah, that's actually why I came in. It's, my tires, the original tires, were at the end of their wear, and so it was like, better get them changed for winter time.
Instead of coming out tomorrow morning and having a flat tire, I thought I'd come in today.
But as the temperature drops, so does the tire pressure.
We're having a lot of people come in and have that checked. So that's one thing for people to be aware of. As our weather does change, it goes from hot to cold, that will happen. So it's important to make sure that there's correct air pressure in your tires at all times.
That's why preparation is key. For the drivers who I spoke with today, they tell me they feel prepared and ready to drive off into winter. I was told if you do want to have studded tires on your car, it's best to wait till the end of September because you can't legally drive a car with studded tires until October 1st. In Bozeman, I'm Cassie Schirm. Everyone stay dry.
How mean are we? We sent Cassie out there on her birthday in the snow and the rain. I'm sorry, Cassie, but have a great birthday.
Certainly a close call. Law enforcement is on the lookout tonight for a semi-truck driver who narrowly avoided running over a sheriff's deputy. Lieutenant Tom Totland with the Park County Sheriff's Office tells us how he almost lost his life while responding to a wreck on I-90. Our Cassie Schirm reports.
This is the aftermath of Lieutenant Tom Totland's car after an accident that he says happened in just seconds. Now he tells me he's lucky to just be alive.
My guardian angel was working overtime yesterday.
While at a single car wreck, he was called to 2 semi-collisions minutes after he gets out of his car. 3 cars pile up in the passenger lane. The crashes didn't end there.
Could hear something, and I turned to look, and there's a semi coming at me. And I turned and took off running into the ditch, and the semi went by, missed me 10 feet.
The semi then fled the scene, but everyone was lucky to be alive.
He could have killed everybody there. If that trailer and truck wouldn't have stayed just like it did, it would have taken all of us out.
Totlin says this danger is a part of the job.
My wife, she last night said to me, she says, I think you've ran out of spare lives. Everybody that's out there working on the road, you know, they've been in the same types of things.
In fact, this video is from a few years ago of a semi and multiple car accident putting Montana Highway Patrol officers and other drivers at risk. Statistics from the National Traffic Incident Management Coalition reveal that on average, at least 2 emergency responders in the U.S. are struck each day in the line of duty.
But we still need the help of the public that we're out there trying to help us also, to pay attention and to stay over.
Lieutenant Totlin says on icy days like today, make sure to take it slow down the roads because it could save someone's life. Reporting here in Livingston, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Thanks, Cassie. We'll take a look at environmental news. The parasite that killed thousands of whitefish in Yellowstone River, it has now spread to other waterways in Montana.
That's right. In fact, after the fish kill scare, Fish, Wildlife and Parks took samples of surrounding rivers and confirmed the parasite is in the upper and lower Madison, East Gallatin, Bighorn, Stillwater, Boulder, Jefferson, and Shields rivers.
After receiving more information, FWP is learning the parasite caused a smaller fish kill in Jefferson last year. Now, the microscopic parasite causes kidney disease in the fish, one of the more devastating conditions for whitefish and trout.
Our Cassie Schirm spoke with FWP about what this outbreak could mean for Montanans. And Cassie, is FWP worried about fish kills in other rivers?
FWP officials tell me not all rivers are the same, so they're not expecting a large fish kill like the one in the Yellowstone River. They gave me an example as it's like you're having a cold and you're outside, but you're not showing symptoms. You can still get people sick.
We are not in a panic mode because we expected this to happen. But what we are doing is we're trying to learn everything we can about this parasite right now.
Even the anglers in fly shops had a feeling this would happen.
FWP finding that the parasite is existing in the Madison and the Gallatin, I guess it's to be expected because one, us anglers are very active and we are fishing different watersheds. So we're not surprised that the parasite has reached these rivers, but as an angler and as an organization and a fly shop, we definitely support what the FWP is doing and giving them the time that they need to really know what's going on.
With winter around the corner, the parasite can still spread and cause damage.
A lot of these parasites, a lot of the invasive plants and things are still viable and easy to transfer through the winter months.
That's why it's important to clean gear thoroughly.
Right, all kinds of invasive species could hide in here, whether it's a small parasite that we can't see, a snail, a little fragment of plant. Any of those things could be the next invasive species that we're moving to a new water.
Businesses plan to keep a close eye on the issue.
Obviously, our business survives on getting people on the water. So, you know, it's something we're watching very closely, and we obviously, you know, keeping abreast of what's happening.
The next step for FWP is to learn more about the parasite. FWP officials tell me the best way to prevent this disease from spreading to another river is to wash, drain, and dry. Reporting here in Bozeman, I'm Cassie Schirm.
Wash, drain, and dry. Thanks, Cassie. Well, you've already shoveled your sidewalk and your driveway, but you might need to look up and see where your next snow removal project may come.
Ooh, I think I know where this is going. As you may have noticed that this warmer weather is melting a lot of snow and ice off of your roofs, but our meteorologist Dave Cochran tells us that this warming trend is fleeting.
And that means one major problem could be accumulating on your roof, and you may need to seek professional help.
Our Cassie Schirm reports.
It's sheets of ice like this one here that could cause many homeowners headaches and could be pretty costly.
Crazy expensive.
Stephen Hunter, WOW Site Services co-owner, says this recent weather could cause many problems for roofs.
It's whenever the ice and stuff starts to sit on your roof and it becomes a hazard for the house. You know, we get these nice days like we have today where all the snow that's sitting up there causes that ice to form later in the evening whenever the temperature drops. And we got to come out and take the ice off the roof. Otherwise, the water will back up behind that ice and find its way into the home.
He says it's important to get it professionally done because it's easy to injure yourself.
Some of those injuries come from them breaking an ice system loose and that snow or that ice come crashing down on top of them. And then, of course, if you fall, not all the snow that's going to be on the ground is going to be nice and fluffy. Some of that stuff's going to be nice and hard where you could really hurt yourself.
This big problem is keeping his crews very busy.
We started the week just before Christmas, and we've probably been removing ice almost every day except for maybe one day, a Sunday every week.
Hunter says if you wait too long to have it removed, it could end up worse in the future.
When you have Mother Nature working against you, you have the warm days like today, and then you have the cold drops in the evenings. That in itself can create a big problem.
Unfortunately, Hunter and his service see many house floods and damages that could have been avoided.
It's unfortunate, and you don't always see it. You know, somebody can stand down here and look up at their roof and they see a little bit of ice right there. Well, they can't always see all the valleys, so it's really hard to know all the time what's going on up there and to be diligent about it. And then unfortunately, because of that, you know, a problem can happen and then they say, well, I never even knew, I never even saw it coming.
Many of the crews will be working till February to make sure all that snow and ice is off your roofs. Reporting here in Bozeman, I'm Cassie Schirm.
And again, it's not just the ice falling and hurting someone, but when that ice forms, the water backs up into your shingles, and then the damage is brutal.
And you also have to be careful when it does melt down below. It can be just as slick.